So yeah, he's a brother. You know, I get to talk to him at least once a week, and it's fab. You know, I've been shooting with him and you know, hung out with him and stuff. And what an amazing trip, you know, to be a game developer, but also to hang out with your heroes. It's pretty cool.
Oh, I can imagine that is quite fun. But we've got the first mission booting up here. I'm going to give a little bit of insight. They're calling this Operation Thunder Magic. I already see people in the group chat for the game saying it's Tropic Thunder. Pretty funny movie in my opinion, but looks like we got Blue Force starting at a small fire base of some sort. They're going to be taking a ride into the jungle. There's 3 different LZs for them to utilize, and I think the 3 objectives they're trying to destroy are PAVN-related AA sites. So we've got 2 SAM missile launchers and then a radar piece all across an Op4 staging area. But with that said, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll probably be right into the first round.
Well, I'm just wondering why the mission looks like a ball sack and a penis.
I had Azariah say that in chat too. It does kind of look like a penis.
Yeah. So we're attacking the ball sack tonight. We're going deep in there.
Deep into the scrotum here to get the VC out. Oh dear.
And one of their assets apparently is a fan song radar.
Right.
Now, that is the unsung hero of the DLC, because when you go inside that, it has 3 working seats, and each seat has a different multifunction display and PIP screen and all that kind of stuff. I guarantee you, most of the people who've played SOG Prairie Fire have never stepped foot inside that radar.
I'll be honest with you, I've never stepped foot inside that radar, so now I got something to go zoom into when the round starts.
Yeah, and like most of our assets, when you step foot inside it, you'll realize it has high quality interior, and it's really cool. But most of the time, the only time you see that is when you lock it with a Shrike, and then you take it out with a Phantom from about 20 miles away, you know. So, but from myself point of view, well, obviously I'm the project director of SOG Prairie Fire DLC. I've been modding armor for a couple of decades or so, in and out, you know, or maybe a decade. I don't know, a decade and a half. I lose track. I got an early job offer to work on Jets DLC, and I worked on that, and then we formed the team to make Prairie Fire. So, you know, I'm not into me, I'm into the team, just like the SOG guys, you know, and so we got those guys on board early doors, you know, Major General Ken Bore, Tilt Meyer, Jim Shaw 10, Wild Carrot, Don Hassey, that people love from the you know, from the Drewski videos, where he interviews Don flying around and stuff. Now we play with those guys every week. And we occasionally bring new guys in to have the experience of playing with the SOG team, and they love all that. So it's very much about team. You know, we're not in this as individuals. We're in it as a team, and we built this thing as a team. We stand as a team, and we're going to develop it as a team. And tonight we're going to talk. You know, in the intermission between things, we're going to have a chance to talk a little bit about our plans for the future. So, you know, stay tuned, everyone, because we're going to get. You know, we're into the beer, the NDA's thrown out the window, you know, and we're going to get to talk a little bit about the real situation, the real shit.
So I wonder what's taking them so long. Usually when they have everyone in the map screen like this, they're probably explaining everything for the night. Maybe they're talking about why this AO is rather phallically shaped. Then again, the little bend in the front. I'd be a little worried, but maybe it's just a drooping point. There we go. All right. First mission down. Everyone starts naked as their kits load for the server, but let's go ahead and look at the mission info here. This one was made by Banks, who is a long-standing player within FNF. But the background here, 1968 Laos. In support of Operation Commando Hunt, a joint ARVN/US mission to cut off PAVN supply lines, a company of MACV SOG Special Forces, Blue 4, are making a daring, risky, and illegal incursion into Laos to destroy PAVN OP4 AA capabilities along the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Though it was a nightmare, Lord, it was so true. It's running the lyrics for Running in the Jungle in the second half of that. Notes here, Blue 4, the 3 marked landing zones are cleared out areas of jungle, which, while convenient, aren't required to be used. So Blue 4 can land anywhere in their attack. Blue 4, the hitbox on the missile objectives is quote-unquote funny. To ensure destruction with small arms or AT, aim at the base of the launcher. They're calling your assets funny. Oh, shoot. I just realized T-Far stole me over. So let me go ahead and disable that. My bad.
I've just been, reminding everyone that I don't have a bent penis, even if the game does.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get stolen right there. But yeah, no, it's because normally I have a plugin that lets me hear them locally, and I need to disable that for tonight because it also moves me into the TFAR channel. So that is my bad, boss. That's going to stay off for the rest of the night. But I was in the middle of reading through the notes here. I was just pointing out that they were calling your missile objectives quote-unquote funny in terms of their hitboxes. Otherwise,
no comment.
Otherwise, on the third paragraph of the notes, several trucks manned by AI will travel the Ho Chi Minh Trail throughout the round. While technically these are neutral units that are non-hostile and pose no threats to the players made that way for armor reasons, they should be considered as OP4. Basically just for some extra ambience. Mission rules, Blue 4 platoon attached helicopters not permitted to leave the play area. Alright, so they're forcing them to stay in the AO this time around. That is some napalm dropping. A lot of napalm dropping.
Cool.
To the point it's hurting the server a little bit, landing really close to the player base here, but not directly on him.
Smells like victory.
Already, right? Last thing for the mission rules for Blue 4, a pilot role has been added to the Orbat for all platoons. These roles have a rifleman kit and are expected to operate as such once safely landed, i.e. you've dropped off to your platoon, leave the helicopter behind and fight with them. So it sounds like they might not have all their helicopters up in the air providing fire support. Instead, they're just going to keep everyone on the ground. Otherwise, objectives here, we have the SAM site and then 2 of the SAM launchers with the radar dish itself. Otherwise, standard round for FNF tonight, 15 minutes of save start, 50 minutes for the gameplay. View distance is going to be 1 kilometer, no magnified optics nor NVG equipment for anyone except for marksmen. They get a magnified optic. And the defender points are set to 250. That is double the standard 125 we see for Friday Night Fight rounds. Both sides, I'm going to check the roster real quick to see if we have an Echo group. I don't see one, so the mat doesn't matter because they're only seen in Echo. Otherwise, Blue 4 is going to be kitted out as SOG kits here. Loadouts are going to be a mix of the XM177E2, also the, that was the prototype rifle, but for the M16, if I remember correctly. Right, Rob?
Not really, no. The prototype would probably be the what's it called? It was an AR-15, I think, and that was an Armalite, and then they developed the M16 from that, and the XM177 was the Commando carbine.
Gotcha.
And the E1 was the first version. The E2 was made with a slightly longer barrel, and the primary reason for that was you can then clip a underbarrel M203 to it.
Gotcha. But they have a choice between that weapon or M14s, or they can bring trench guns, the 1897, and then you got 1911s as their secondary support weaponry. So for Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, the light machine gunners get an M63A Commando, and then the Delta machine gunners are going to get the M60 Shorty. Light anti-tank's going to be the M72, and Peruvian Aviation are going to get the Grease gun here. Nothing on crew served weapons, but otherwise, here are the 5 Iroquois Slicks, UH-1D helicopters, and they've got 2 side-mounted M60s, though we'll see if any of them are actually flown into combat. We also see they've got the smoke grenade and gas grenades that they can drop out of the side of the helicopter. We'll see again if those are even utilized. But, again, based off of what was said in the rules, it made it seem like that Blue 4 was going to dismount the helicopters and send people in as infantry. There's more napalm going in. Sorry, it's blowing out my ears because I'm so low to the ground.
I don't have sound, so I'm perfect.
Woo!
Sounds good though. I mean, that's the thing. Lord Jarhead made our sounds. When you're actually in combat in the DLC, it freaks you out. I mean, it's loud. It's loud. It's kinetic.
Very.
It's like a gut punch. It grabs you by the balls. and only Dennis in the whole of Armor. Only Dennis is the guy that can really make that happen.
Right.
He is a legend in Armor modding and Armor sound engineering.
Great sound engineering there.
The very first day that he delivered the very first set of sounds to us, we were hooked. You know, and I got asked by Bohemia what was the best thing we did in the whole DLC, and I've always said, every single time, it's Dennis's sound, because the soundscape that he created, the distant shouting of the AI,
right,
all that kind of stuff, it creates a visceral experience you don't get elsewhere in Armor.
I don't mean to throw my own hat in the ring, but there is one person I know that also does sound design on a smaller scale for his own headcanon sci-fi stuff. But I want to put emphasis on your point. This guy will literally, in the Eden editor, spend hours adding little triggers to every single point of movement, to every single item. So when you're over a certain surface, you'll hear your footsteps a bit different, similar to how Arma treats itself. If you're by some electronics, they'll give a little buzz. If you're in what's meant to be a tunnel, he'll have some echoing in that tunnel to really emphasize it. Sound design is one of those things that a lot of people don't think about, I would say in video games in general, but it makes all of the difference, especially to immerse yourself. So when you bring stuff up like that, I 100% agree with you, because it's very rare to find people with that capability, but when you do, it makes all of the difference.
Yeah,
so,
and the thing with Dennis is we gave him the job and then we left him alone. And over the time, he's re-engineered the sounds several times. Nobody has ever breathed down his neck or looked over his shoulder. We just leave him to it, and he just does his thing.
Right.
And for 1.3 update coming out very, very soon, he has re-engineered all the sounds again. And and none of us give a shit. We're like, we don't care.
Go for it.
Dennis is just doing his thing. We don't need to look at it. We don't need to test it. Like, nothing.
It's set.
The guy is a complete and utter professional.
Right.
And he understands what's needed. He needs no direction from me or any of the other team members, and virtually never makes a mistake.
That's amazing.
How can you get a guy like that in your team?
Right. Pure perfection.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could have managers managing him and like all kinds of other people involved. We don't have any of that. We just have Dennis, and this is Dennis's show.
Dennis the Menace.
one third of the DLC in terms of its impact and its immersion is Dennis's sound, and Dennis just does his own job, and we just pay him, and that's the end of it. Isn't that fantastic?
That's great. Honestly, that's great. Systems can be so efficient and make so much of a difference. But let's go ahead and look back at the rest of this roster here. So looking at the PAVN forces here, their weaponry is going to vary between SKS rifles, Type 56 assault rifles, M49s, which if I recall correctly are the French battle rifle, ISH double-barrel shotguns, TT-33 secondaries. The light machine gunner in Alpha Bravo and Charlie for Op 4 is going to be K50s, as a submachine gun might have the drum mags. I'll have to go down and look, otherwise they get the stick mags, and then Delta is going to get the PKs. Light anti-tank is going to be the B-41, rocket-propelled grenade launcher, and then crew and aviation are going to get the MAT-49s. Assets for them include a Dishko with the AA scope, not really a scope, I guess the attachment up top, and then you've got 3 ZPUs. I'm a little interested to see how these ZPUs are going to work because I didn't see any rules stating that the ZPUs couldn't be used against infantry. So I think they're just going to be in interesting positions. And then we have the... interesting, they listed the radar piece, probably because you can board it, and we see the capacity down there. But otherwise, let's go ahead and look at our AO here. So right off the bat, spawn was around the PAVN radar site. I'm going to look in this now. Ah, dang it. It's one of those assets where you can't look into it from the spectator interface. I'll have to go and jump in it later to see those textures you were talking about. But looking at the AA guns, it looks like they've heavily fenced around them with sandbags and some dug-in entrenchment, so there's only some small angles where they could potentially be used against infantry. But otherwise, they're looking up in the air to be utilized against air assets should they fly around. Otherwise, the remaining... it's a little lopsided. Similar to the AO itself, it's the exact same angle. Look at that. It's slightly clipped into the ground right there, but it's in its own little fortification to try to hide it from air. And then the third one...
Let's face it, it's another bent penis.
It's another bent penis. We got a straight penis for the second SAM launcher. And that one is... well, the fortifications are a little lower, so this one could potentially be sniped from range with AT, but we'll just have to see how the entirety of this scenario plays out. I think we have, yep, 1 AA gun per area, just to prevent air from potentially hovering over and trying to snipe it.
Are those missiles occupied by AI or friends, or are they just targets?
I think they're just targets. I need to go turn something off real quick. I left my, I was doing a bit of horror gaming last night, and I just completely remembered I left the sound bites on, and someone just blew out my ears with one of them. And I had to cover my mouth real quick, because I was both slightly peeved and laughing over that after the second and third time it played. So, that's off. My apologies to chat and to you, but otherwise... that is our AO here. Now what I like to do is I like to go over the roster. I'd imagine, though, again, to answer your question, I think they're just statics. Normally, though, they would be AI-controlled. But again, okay. I think since they're just objectives, they're just empty vehicles for the sake of this. But otherwise, looking over at the roster here, looking at Blue Force spawn, we have Eric commanding the Blue Force side. Wheaton leading Alpha with Gazog, Banks, Harna, and Ash. Alpha 1 led by Swallow with Tacklebear and Alexander. Norris leading Alpha 2 with McTavish, Harma, Holtz, Kulkilda, and Hunt. Bravo being led by Nemesis with Cat's Eye, Ender, Flying Fin, Whiplash, Puritan, Dratasis, and Cindy. Bravo 1 being led by Yanni, Finn with Cullis, Puma, Batty, and Veteran. It looks like with Bravo, they merged part of Bravo 2 in there, which is why I don't see them. And then Charlie has Bluck leading Ivno, Lolo, Pogo, Depso, Kermit, Tymic, Albin, Syke, Skipu, Quebec, Dawidox, and Astronaut. And then Hotel, we have a dedicated flight crew, so I think they're only going to be allowed one Huey based on the fact I only see one loaded with actual pilots, and the rest I think are just riflemen that are going to get out, as stated in the mission command here. But we got Matt flying Harrington and Major Khan. Meanwhile, looking over at Op4, we have Charlotte commanding with Shy as the 2IC, Patriot leading Alpha with Olaf as the marksman, Lolo as the medic, Mutant leading Alpha 1 with Charles, Sam, and Seismo, Mackenzie leading Bravo with Blam as the marksman, Aim at the Balls as the medic, and Rodrig as the 2IC with grenade rounds for that SKS. Newton leading Bravo 1 with Ants. I quickly want to look. Okay, they do have the drum mags for the K50s for those quote-unquote auto rifleman slots. Renly, Blast, Puma, and Toxic are also in Bravo 1, Bravo 2 being led by Jack the Viper with Anishi and Nanu. Charlie being led by King with Michael as the 2IC, Chat GPT, Soldier, and Roofy also under there with Chat taking the marksman slot. Flux leading Charlie 1 with John, Tim, Arma Jesus, Roster Guy, Fury, Coop, all under him. Steve leading Delta with Vagrant, Pierce, Waldo, Kabubi, and Mark. Now, to address chat, the Friday Night Fight viewing veterans, I just want to point out, Pepega Pirates on Op4, one of the communities we like to watch, definitely in the top 2, and Scandia Recon on Blue Force. So I'm happy that they're keeping the 2 most powerful communities in separate groups so we don't see an easy steamroll, and this op can be much more interesting, though. We definitely have more Scandia Recon players on compared to Pepega, so we'll see if that changes things up. Charlotte commanding, for those of you who don't know, that's a name change. That is Slushy. But Slushy has had a really nice hot streak in commanding, and I haven't seen Eric command in a while. So I'd be leaning a bit towards Op4 for this scenario, but we did see in the last FNF bout with Vietnam, when we had US versus PAVN directly, usually the weaponry kind of leaned towards the US side, especially when we saw trench guns in action in CQC, as well as usually Blue 4 rifles would just outperform what Op 4 had, but there were definitely some kickbacks here and there, especially that tunnel op we saw last time on Op 4. That was a pretty nice stomp out by the PAVM, but that was also because the tunnel was a death sentence for all of Blue 4 that went down there. But regardless, with all of that out of the way, the mission has begun. We've got 4 Hueys in the sky, and at least from what I see, I think they're going to stick going up the shaft here to the top of the balls and then landing at any one of these 3 LZs. And they've also put some nice smoke on these AOs to allow them to land. But you also hear the occasional trucks driving by and even see some smoking wrecks of various trucks that might have been blown up by napalm strikes or something else. So we got the Hueys flying over. They're even flaring up their positions. I'm going to increase my render distance here. And we're going to watch these guys go in. But Rob, do you have anything to add?
Oh, it looks fantastic. I can smell victory already.
Victory for who?
Well, the smell of napalm, you know, so victory for Blue 4 always. You know?
Of course. But I know Charlotte will give them one hell of a fight, especially with Pepega Pirates under her disposal. So, we've got Blue 4 already passing through LZ Clifford. Though it looks like Charlie is coming into a holding pattern here. They might try to land, and they are going low. Going a little too far. Nope, looks like they're waving off from the LZ. They were just using that as an excuse to lower themselves. Are they going to turn? Trying to see what they're doing here.
This was a common SOG tactic to pretend to land in a zone.
Right.
Get the MVA to believe you were landing there and then bugger off and land somewhere else.
So we actually have seen that tactic utilized in Friday Night Fights before, but I think what's even more interesting is we have a helicopter landing here, and we got 2 trucks driving down the MSR. Technically, again, they were registered as neutral units, so I'm curious to see how these trucks are going to pathfind around this vehicle here. Almost running over one of them. They're playing chicken right now with the with the trucks. They almost got run over. Oh, man. It's an impromptu game of Frogger.
What do they say? That when you make your battle plans and then everything turns to shit right
No
afterwards.
plan survives first contact. That is the rule. Chat's asking me, so if the helicopter was flying in the AO, is it dick helicoptering because it's going up the God damn this AO size, man. Well, we got Hotel providing overwatch as the one dedicated Huey. The other 3 have landed. Everyone's dismounted. We've got Op 4 trying to set up a defensive line with Charlie, which I believe are the Pepega Pirate guys. They really specialize in aggressive tactics. And otherwise, Op 4, we just see kind of a pretty even strategy here, utilizing all of the overwatch points they can. We got on the left, .233 has a group. On the right, .263 has a group. And then in the center, we've got Pepega kind of holding the middle, but ready to pull back deeper through the forest, as the 2 northern objectives have units around it, but the southern one at Von Zo doesn't have anything probably to be utilized as a fallback position later. But with this being such a tight AO, that does allow Op 4 to make some pretty good defensive lines. But Blue 4 might have some opportunities to outflank. So we'll just have to see how this goes.
Which actually map are we on?
We're on the northern side of Cam Lao Nam. Actually, the more top left area. I've done an op or two in this area compared to the rest of the map, but this is definitely one of the more unexplored areas of the map that I would say. A lot more mountainous terrain with a lot more open areas compared to the rest of Cam Lao Nam, in my opinion, where it's usually much more heavily seated in jungle. So with all these open areas, it's going to offer a lot of great Overwatch and vantage points for Op4 to utilize, but also for Blue 4 as they come in to help scout out any routes they want to take on the outskirts, but not necessarily the heavy, thick jungle for what appears to be Alpha moving through, and that's going to allow Charlie and Op4 a potential opportunity to deliver a pretty nasty ambush.
Sure, and obviously because it's Cam Lao Nam and it's such a big map, the cell size is quite big, which means the terrain is not as forgiving in terms of CQB.
Right. And the two best communities in FNF, Scandia Recon and Pepega Pirates, really excel in both urban combat and jungle terrain because it allows them to quickly flank around a defensive line and hit them on the flank or even the rear and get in quite a few free kills before their opponent notices, but by then they could already be pulling back. But we already see one of the Pepega Pirates members here, the Marksman, running ahead north to try to find where Blue 4 may be. So he is actually within 80 meters of Blue 4. I think he just saw some Blue 4 crossing this SSR here left to right, and now he's running back because he's going to go tell his guys that Blue 4 is right there, and they're going to try to set up an ambush for them.
That was a great spot.
Mm-hmm. So FNF, to my knowledge, has laxed some of their rules a bit to allow for scouts to run up and do a little bit of recon in small amounts. So that's going to allow for a lot more runner-style gameplay with people sending scouts out or people sending individual units to potentially go get radio contact with other groups, or just to make a much more thin defensive line and focus on the best positions of cover that they can, rather than keeping everyone so clustered that a single UGL round or something like a grenade could take them out. But otherwise, it looks like Blue 4 is trying to move a lot of forces on the eastern flank at the moment. We see about 2/3 of their force up here. It looks like they might try to use the low ground to get all the way up to a neighboring hill to get good overwatch on the AO. We see on the map, you have this little bit of terrain right here that's still in the play zone. So I think Blue 4 is going to opt to, from where they are right now, move down and get there. But Op4 does have Overwatch to see this coming. I'm looking through their first-person POVs here. I'm trying to see if they'll take notice of that massive amount of Blue 4 coming down, but they have to at this rate. I see one of the machine gunners looking in that direction as well. He's with another machine gunner. This is Delta, though, for Op4, which means they have the PKs. So a PK firing at a bunch of Blue 4 that move in the open right here would be very, very nasty, because this is all an open kill zone. And since they're going to be running downhill, it could be sloped enough to the point they can't do a full sprint and could potentially get caught out here in the open and take heavy casualties. But Blue 4's plan is to move up to where Delta is, utilize this as an overwatch point, and then utilize the jungle right here to probably send, since we have Bravo and Charlie, they'll either have Charlie or Bravo overwatch, and then the other squad will go down and start hitting the objectives, and by the time those start getting hit, the other squad will break down and join them. So, good plan by Blue 4, but Op4's done a great job of countering it with the units that they've placed. And I've got the Delta machine gunners now looking right at Blue 4 right here, looking down their sights, bipoding their weapons. They know Blue 4 is coming down. We're going to have shots firing any moment, and these two machine guns are about to lay down a lot of hate.
Yeah, the PK with its 7.62 by 54 Russian round.
So interestingly enough, a Blue 4 marksman opened up on them first, but the shots were short, and now you got those machine gunners firing. Looking at the map, I'm going to be curious to see if we have anyone turn and assist this for us, but you also have Alpha going through the open to cover the left flank of this force. That could leave Charlie then to flank right and potentially engage the entirety of Blue 4 right here. Blue 4's got to be careful too. We see Charlie trying to come around to get out of that open kill zone, but there's still going to be a little bit of openness from their angle, but it's definitely less of a kill zone. But is Op4 going to stay on this position and risk being plinked at by marksmen, or are they going to go for it and try to hit what they can?
Well, they can suppress and kind of hold in place, but it depends on the maneuverability of their colleagues.
So we've got one of the quad AA guns firing at the Huey. Huey's spraying back, but now it's flying over where the rest of the infantry are being engaged.
Yeah, you've got to get the hell out of there. Once a quad 14.5 mil targets you,
yeah.
if you hang around, you're dead.
Yeah. So they have Charlie's squad lead scouting ahead. He's looking up on the hill. He's going to spot some of Op4 up there moving around. But now you got the Huey firing down at them, trying to suppress that position to either get them to rout. And it looks like he's actually succeeding as we see the two machine gunners pulling back up here. Delta's also pushed a few guys down a little closer.
Oh, this is class. This is class.
Blue 4 is doing everything they can to get Op4 off of this hill because they know if they try to advance while Op4 is on there, they're going to take heavy casualties from those machine guns. You got the 14.5 trying to fire from range again, but at this range, it's going to be very, very hard to land a shot.
Yeah, but one shot and your engine or your tail are gone. So
yeah.
No, it's not that difficult with a quad barrel 14.5. It's a beast of a weapon. If you know roughly where the helicopter is, you just fill the area, and you've got so much ammo on that thing.
Right. So we've got more fire being exchanged on these hills here. Delta, just to point out, doesn't have any marksmen because they're the machine gun element. And Alpha Bravo and Charlie have a single marksman per entire squad. So now you got the Huey, though, suppressing, with Bravo suppressing as Charlie's going for it right now. And they're really relying on trying to keep this position covered by fire at this point.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. This is showing how air and ground assets, if they communicate with each other, they can actually be significantly overpowered compared to forces.
Based on all the fire I'm seeing coming out here, I'd imagine we've got the M63 gunners also shooting. They got those drum barrels. These are the stoners. And
yeah, that's a close quarter weapon, though. I mean,
yeah.
You don't use that on a firefight at 500 meters. You know, save the ammo. You use it close quarters.
Right. But it looks like Blue 4 is actually succeeding in making this Delta group rout. You got some smokes on the Charlie side. You're hearing some explosives fire. I think Charlie got close enough to start whiffing UGLs on this hill at an accurate range. And now we've got everything coming around here. We got Charlie starting to reform for Op4 and moving a bit to the right. I think they're trying to find where that group to the north was, because Papega, who's in Charlie right now, they also know their timing really well. So if they haven't run into contact yet, they can predict that they're probably being flanked, or that group that they might have seen earlier is coming around. So you see that they're starting to move a bit to the right, move a bit more to where the action is. And if they keep up this route, they're going to run right into Alpha. And Alpha's split a bit between Alpha 1 and Alpha Actual, which is the leadership element on Overwatch, as Alpha 2 was already spearheaded into the jungle in a position where the rest of Alpha can give them a little bit of cover. But I'd imagine you're going to see the other two elements of Alpha fold down to Alpha 2 once Blue 4 is confident that they can move up to that hill unmolested without Alpha being needed to route over and potentially get up to that hill and engage in a closer range at the edge of the jungle. But I think they're relying on Charlie here, because look, Charlie's actually rode the entire edge of the map going down an even lower ground. And now they're going to have a steep climb to get up to this position. But otherwise, Delta pulling back might go all the way to Von Zo all the way in the rear, since they've been retreating southwest. But that might just be to follow the jungle to then get west to where the rest of Op4's line is. But you just have infantry going back and forth at the moment. And now you've got Bravo breaking down. They're going to run west and regroup with Alpha. I'd be curious what Pepega might do under Op 4 Charlie, but you got the Huey now flying overhead here, providing more suppression on the tree line. Not sure if they have a direct line on where Op 4 is running around in the open down there, but they're definitely doing their best to suppress, and they start shooting just as Coop and John get under the tree. Go ahead.
They're getting right into cover there, look, because they can see it's coming in. They read that well, and they got themselves into cover. So it's not that easy when you're on the M60 up there. It's not that easy to get good eyes on target, especially with the thing flying around in loops and stuff.
Right. Huey just did a quick dive away because the 14.5 millimeters started engaging them again, but no hits still.
Yeah, Iowa Reaper. Yeah, we should be here for the next 8 hours. So you get yourself a beer or whatever your poison is, and settle in for the mission, because this is going to take a while.
So I'm not sure if I'll be here for NA. I will be covering EU though. I'll have to check my schedule because NA is more restrictive with who they let in.
Right, that might make my life easier, because then I don't have to do a full 8 hours.
Right, and you're European, so that's going to be incredibly late for you.
I plan till 4 in the morning. It's just part of the job,
Yeah, I gotcha.
You have to just go with it. So if it doesn't end up being that, then fine. Then you guys are getting the premiere here, and
right. And then we have next week too. So
yeah, we go. What do we do next week?
The same thing, right?
Okay, and is it the same mission set?
It'll be, I think, a different set of missions.
Right. Okay.
But still Vietnam. And of course, we always have what we do on Sunday, though with regular Easter and Greek Easter, it's, at least I call it Greek. Would it be Orthodox Easter? I have my fiance next to me who's Greek. She just told me it's Orthodox Easter. So that's going to make player counts a little tough on the Sundays, but hey, we also always have those. We do on-the-ground stuff with the missions provided from the SOG Prairie Fire CDLC, or one of the Zeuses, including myself, will make something. And you'll see us on the ground doing some pretty fun stuff as we try to complete various SOG objectives.
And of course, the best missions that always happen every Sunday seldom get streamed, where we actually play with the Mackie SOG veterans.
Right.
And our team of guys who played the missions hundreds of times, and yet we're still learning. And we're still adapting to try to defeat the enemy. We're 2 years into this DLC.
Right.
We're still replaying the same missions over and over, trying to get better at them, because they are tough.
Real quick, the 14.5 millimeter finally got 2 good tail rotor hits. You see the tail has been knocked out. Chopper's in a death spin, but was able to recover. And is now pulling out. Looks like no one is a casualty on the helicopter itself, but that was a very risky situation. But thankfully, Matt, the pilot, was able to pull them out of it. But with tail rotor damage, we might see that Huey try to land somewhere to get it repaired real quick. But otherwise, if they try to hover, they're going to start going into another death spin. So we'll see if they decide to move back. But you already see they slow down again, did a quick twirl, but it looks like they're going to be flying back potentially to base to have a safe spot to land that, because they need a lot of room to land that helicopter because of that tail rotor loss.
Yeah, you have to lean it a little bit to the left, and you have to put a lot of left pedal on, and you have to keep your RPMs up while trying to get your altitude down. It's all an interesting interplay of factors that happen when you do lose your tail. But everyone who knows, who's played armor and knows how to fly, of course, you can land a chopper with a broken tail. It's doable.
It just takes practice and a good amount of open area to compensate for all of that movement that your chopper's going to do when it spins.
It's always tricky when you've got a group of guys in the back and they're all panicking.
Yeah, right. And they're screaming at you.
You've lost engine power and you've got to auto-rotate, and then your tail goes out. And yeah, it gets fun.
You just got to tune them all out at that point. Do your job.
I just love the fact that in armor you can actually handle all that situation and manage to do a soft touch, landing. The actual simulation of that is so very well done.
Right. So we've got Pepega is moving to the edge of the jungle right here. They're going to be flanked by Blue 4 Alpha on their north, but if they're quick enough, Op 4 might also catch Blue 4 Bravo in the open areas right here. Very risky that Blue 4 Bravo decided to utilize these open areas, thinking that Op 4 wouldn't set up a secondary defensive line somewhere on the edge of the jungle to the west. But we see that Blue 4 is really dividing on a few different AOs here. I think Charlie's going to continue to flank south and move all the way to the southern objective and hit that on their own. Bravo, unsure what they're going to be doing, but the whole formation is spread out over a bit of a kilometer here. So I'm a little worried because when you have forces this separated, groups like Pepega really excel at taking out these individual groups and defeating an enemy, and the term is defeat in detail. Because Blue 4 has the number advantage as the attacker, but since they're so divided, that could leave Op 4, despite not having the number advantage, to fight these divided groups with what they have. But in those local firefights, Op 4 can retain the number advantage and then just encircle, eliminate, and then rinse and repeat with the other groups here. Though Blue 4 for Alpha, we see them both in 2 formations between the teams. I saw them doing a wedge, but it looks like they stopped just short of Op 4, and they're doing that classic SOG thing of you move, and then you stop, and then you listen for a bit. And then you decide what to do, and you keep moving, because being able to do that will let you hear what's going on around you, and give you a chance to get your bearings and continue to make another action. And if they didn't do that, they would have run right into Pepega and had a pretty bloody firefight there.
Yeah, if you're going to bump into a fight in this kind of foliage, the first thing your team wants to do is they want to get the 40 mics and the machine guns going. And then everyone who's got a carbine or an M16 needs to be throwing grenades. And then you build up a wall of frag and then basically relocate.
So the two elements of, who is this? Charlie. They took the Dishka AA, and they just sniped one of the Bravo dudes in the open, but now they're starting to take fire, as they're now randomly suppressing. But that was nuts. They're using the AA Dishka to just snipe people in the open, and they're using it pretty effectively. Charlie has started digging foxholes. They're trying to set up in a position to engage people. We just saw someone in a foxhole get sniped by the Blue 4 element of Bravo on the hilltop defending. This is going to be really interesting because now Alpha, because they stopped and held, they're in a position to now flank Pepega on the northern side and potentially eliminate the entirety of Charlie if they push in. And wiping out the best troops on the enemy faction is going to be a pretty severe blow and greatly increase the chances of Blue 4 winning this fight.
Personally, if I could hear that Dushman firing and I was in Alpha 1 or 2 right now, I'd have the whole team online moving into that.
But it looks like the Dishko was just abandoned by those two PAVN elements here. I don't see them moving back with it. So I'd imagine the static might have been disabled or taken damage, or they just bugged out of there after they took accurate fire after getting that one kill.
What was the problem with the vehicle-mounted weapon or crew-serve weapon is that the moment the enemy see you, with any iron sight weapon 300 to 400 meters in armor, they can take you out.
Right.
But with one shot. And that's what I love about this game compared to COD or Battlefield or any of that other stuff.
Oh, man. So, we just had Blue 4's Alpha start moving south to try to flank this forest, but Op 4 had security elements. And it's a pretty brutal fight right now. We're seeing ChatGPT here going 3 for 3. You got some Blue 4 going around, but the PAVN just got all over Alpha's position here. You got Roofy over here with the Type 56 pushing the other parts of the remaining Alpha group, but it is just a mess. Roofy on his third kill, moving around.
This dude's on fire.
Wow, 4th kill after taking multiple hits.
With a pistol.
With a pistol.
What a dude. He must have played a lot of Call of Duty.
He's still got Roofy running around, trying to get this final guy, but most of Alpha has just been wiped. You only have Sergeant Wheaton and Gazog left, and I knew that would happen if they weren't careful with Pepega, which is why I commended them on slowing down. But as soon as that dinner bell was run, everyone in Op Fort Charlie turned around and started engaging. Gazog taking a few hits as he runs behind a tree. And you see that Op Force reformed a battle line down here as they're trying to sweep the trees to see if there's anyone else left. Roofy's still in a 1v1, trying to make kill number 5. Michael and Guy Fieri got shot at by Wheaton, and they're returning fire now.
There's a couple of solo guys left, but one guy can kill everyone in the team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, play well.
Roofy just got kill number 5 there by flanking Gazog. And that's what I'm talking about when I say Pepega and Scandi are just really superior when it comes to this level of fighting. Because you see the flanking they're doing around what is perceived as an enemy position. All the way down to the one-on-one firefights. And to someone that is not used to an enemy that will quickly flank around and hit them, because so many players here play PvE. And even some PvP fights, people just sit behind their trees and blink at each other. That is not the case when you fight Pepega or Scandi. They will actively rush you. They will actively try to get around and flank you. And it's to the point, I mean, you see the entirety of Alpha, minus one guy is dead, and looking at Charlie, they only have 1 KIA, and that was the one guy that was in the foxhole sniped by Bravo earlier. So, in the fight between Charlie and Alpha, Charlie didn't take a single KIA.
Fantastic.
A little bit of bad news on the side, though. It looks like the helicopter tried to auto-rotate and failed. Matt died, and the other two took another helicopter and moved out. But based on the wreck, it looks like they swung into a big rock, and unfortunately, the pilot did not make it. What a shame. He was doing so well after taking that 14.5 millimeter fire. And we'll just have to see how all this goes.
It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm. So you got Wheaton hiding for his life. The rest of Op 4, I'd imagine at this point, are going to be licking their wounds, bandaging themselves. That's another thing that I love about Scandi and Pepega. If they get hit, they won't immediately run behind somewhere and start bandaging themselves. They'll keep fighting. And they will wait till they think that the area is clear before they do medical, which is the proper way to do it. You got to make sure you're clear before you start hunkering yourself down to treat yourself, because otherwise, while you're treating yourself, your gun's not in your hands, a bandage is, and someone can just run up and hit you.
Yeah, you should always do that in rotation around the squad anyway.
Right. So with Blue 4 down to 2/3 of their manpower, Op 4 only taking a few licks, it's leaning towards Op 4 right now because of that impressive display between Op 4 Charlie and Blue 4 Alpha. Bravo and Charlie for Blue 4 are going to be starting to link up here. They're bypassing the 3rd position. I think they have a demo specialist in the AO looking for the final area, and it sounds like gunfire because they just found the final guy and took him out. That was Wheaton. And based on who's looking at him, that was Chat GPC Soldier getting his 4th kill. And there's the double tap. So Chat there on 4 kills, and then where is their medic? Roofy on 5. So King got none, Michael got none, Chat with the 4, Roofy with the 5, 9 between them. Flux got 3, and he's taken the Stoner Commando now, which was on the machine gunner for Alpha. That is a good gun. John Stupendous on a kill, Tim got a kill. Arma Jesus was the guy that died in the foxhole. Guy Fury also got a kill, but you can see a pretty nice kill dispersion between the people that were north pulling the security for the rest of Charlie as they tried to line up to take on Bravo. They're the ones that got a majority of the kills, because as soon as they saw that contact, they just started running around flanking and just racking up kill after kill there. And that's the really scary part about fighting either Scandi or Pepega, and that's why I always shout them out, because they constantly do things like that. So we've got Blue 4. Again, a few guys are hanging back here. What I'm a little worried about, though, is Charlie still around the objective and Blue 4 starting to move towards the next objective to the north. And if they go in unsupported, you're going to have another potential element of being defeated in detail, and that's just going to screw Blue 4 even more to the point they're not going to be able to bounce back. How I predict the rest of this is going to go is either Bravo Blue 4 is going to go into the central zone, or wait for Charlie to destroy Von Zo. Then either one or both groups are going to hit the central area. Papega is going to probably go south and then try to flank. But the real fight is going to be between the Scandia Recon element in Blue 4 Bravo and Papega on Charlie, because those groups always cancel each other out. Because if you have both sides trying to actively flank each other, it just turns into whoever has the cover and whoever's actively trying to run around, because with both groups pulling that 360, it becomes a real game of chance just to see who gets caught in the open and who just happens to be in cover. And I've always seen those guys go from constantly evenly trading with each other to even one group just completely wipes the other because of some unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, I'd say whoever holds their grenades in reserve are going to win.
Right.
Because grenades in our DLC are much, much stronger than they are in vanilla.
So we have a satchel down. Eric, as the commander, though, he's staying by the objective. They don't want to detonate it yet to let Op4 know that they're down here. That is a very smart thing to do, because if they did it, then everyone's going to hear the explosion, reform a defensive line. They're going to know they're coming from the south. Interestingly enough, looking, Op4 Alpha is committing a little bit of red on red. You just saw someone, Charles, was firing up at Delta for some silly reason. And now Delta's returning fire. They're firing at Morgan and Oddball down here, who are part of Alpha. So a little bit of red on red as people are freaking out, wondering where Blue 4 is right now. They know a majority of them are on the east and came around, so maybe they're thinking Blue 4 is now going to come through this jungle here and hit them from the south. But
yeah, it's interesting that you gave Blue 4, or the team who did this gave Blue 4 stoners, and they didn't give them RPD shorties, because the whole point of Blue 4 carrying an RPD shorty is that you're firing green tracer into the enemy.
Right.
But
and that's going to confuse them.
But that's not happening today. But that's what they did in reality.
I think they did it for the sake of balance, because one of the best tactics you can do after a firefight is to pick up an enemy gun. And so many people in FNF have memorized the weapon audio from certain guns. So if they hear a friendly gun behind them, they're going to think for that split second, similar to how I like to, when I'm on point on the Sunday Ops, wear the Recon SOG helmet, which is just the pith helmet. It gives that half second to the enemy to make them think, oh, that's a friendly gun firing behind us. Or in my case, oh, that's a friendly guy. He's not going to shoot me. And then you use that half second to get them before they start realizing that's a lot of gunfire behind me, and now I can't contact half my squad. I wonder what's going on. So the reason they chose the stoners over the RPDs is to not give Blue 4 a bit of an unfair advantage with that.
Yeah, which is fine. Just historically, that's why they did it, because obviously it did give them that advantage, and they needed every advantage they could get.
Right. But as someone points out in my chat, it can't be FNF without a little bit of friendly fire. I think every PvP commentary I do has had that, but we just saw some AT fire onto the radar piece here. It's showing a damaged model now. That had to have been a LAT. Light anti-tank weapon, probably the M72 Law, if I remember the roster correctly. Yep, that was their light anti-tank weapon. So they're going to have to fire a second one to potentially destroy it, but I'm pretty surprised that radar tanked the round. I think if this was real, that radar would at least be disabled, if not destroyed, from a round like that.
Well, I'm guilty of having made the damage model on that thing, but, you know... I mean, I wasn't aware it could take more than one law round, that's for sure.
Now you know.
I wonder if he landed a little bit low on it, because it's not even damaged the tyres or anything. Broken the window glass.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a building on fire behind it too.
Yeah, so I think in the tracer exchange, one of the tracers might have brushed up against the... You know, what are these huts even made out of? I was going to say cocoa choir, but...
yeah, you call it thatch in general.
Yeah. Oh, the 15-minute warning just got called. That's really worrisome because that means Blue 4 only has 15 minutes to get these other 2 objectives done, and they haven't really given Op4 a lot of casualties. We just saw King get taken out, the leader of Charlie, because Charlie started pulling in to help with his defense line. So now with Bravo, Bravo's probably going to hold, and Charlie's going to get around, but you also see some elements of Charlie. Oh, they did bring the AA gun back, and they're firing it through one of the thatch huts here into the crowd and actually knocking out some Blue 4 elements here, utilizing it as a fire support weapon against Bravo, which is Scandi Recon, which would be Blue 4's elite troops. So by taking them out a bit quicker, that's going to give Op4 much more of the advantage. But I'm going to be honest, 15 minutes remaining, Blue 4 on top of the central objective, Op4 still at full strength, Blue 4 at 2/3 of theirs. I don't think Sog's going to win this one. However, we do have Skipu right on the radar objective. Oh, but he gets shot in the back by Flux as he was putting the satchel down. Oh, that is unfortunate. They were going to rush in, get it, and then run away and detonate it, and then probably rush to the final objective and try to bypass a lot of Op4's infantry here. He might have still set a timer, though, but we'll have to see.
40 seconds will tell us. If he got the timer on, he's a hero.
I didn't see him do the additional animation, though, to see it. But now we got some red on red here as Coop is shooting at Flux. And I think Flux also took some fire from Bluck on Blue 4 as they move in. But a lot of Blue 4 trying to get around this AO. Op4 trying to put forces around. You got Roofy on the far flank here. Already on 5 kills from doing this flanking here. But he's taking friendly fire. But he's got people like Nemesis in front of him who are used to tactics like those. Again, Flux takes a bit more red on red, but Coop is utilizing this position to kind of stop anyone that's getting close. All right, you got Roofy and Nemesis on the tree. Nemesis finds Roofy, takes him out with the Mark 14, and there goes Roofy's spree. 13 minutes remaining. I'm a little confused by what Blue 4 is doing here. It looks like Charlie's now trying to bypass, go to the final objective, leaving Bravo to take it, but unless they know that this thing is going to go off because they did put a timer on it, they're just going to end up having this objective not done. And even if they're successful on the final one, which I doubt because of all the manpower and the overwatch that Op4 has on the westernmost objective, they're just going to get whittled down too much and cleaned out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the sniper fires about 600 meters long there.
Right. Got some really distant shots going all the way from Delta's overwatch position because they do have an SKS marksman right here, and he is trying to plink at whoever comes down, so that's a great spot for him. As Blue 4 just seem to be in a little bit of disarray. They still have their commander alive, though, to give these orders, but they're really providing an over-reliance on Bravo for Blue 4 to get this objective done because Charlie's trying to bypass, and I think that's because in all of this time, Eric spent doing all the maneuvering, he wasn't able to get his forces directly on the objective itself, because this is only a 2-kilometer objective here. But he just spent so much time flanking around because he didn't want to, you know, go right in and run into Op4 defensive lines. Second objective is done. That's because Eric started moving out. He detonated that. Now that Op4 knows that they're coming from the south, there's no point in just keeping that objective alive. So it has been taken. Harna, I saw the multi-link you posted me. I'll go ahead and add that to my multi at the end of this round. Just wanted to let you know.
No, there's no copyright on 14. We use that in the DLC.
Yeah. So we've got 2 elements of Op4, Oddball and Captain Morgan. They ran into some of Blue 4 Charlie trying to move up the jungle, but they're stalling them. We've got Depso, who's run ahead of the rest of his Blue 4 buddies. Might run into Lolo in a second, though. You can hear the Fuey flying around in the AO again. I heard what I thought was a second AT shot. I don't know where that landed, though. You got some elements of Op 4 Bravo starting to do another flank around on the northeastern side to try to clear out what remains of Scandi.
What you kind of almost need is Blue 4 to take 2 separate lore teams to run, you know, as light as possible.
Right.
To each objective and to set up on those objectives and then to engage at the same time. So you just have bang, bang, you know, target down. One of you is going to hit the target.
You got Catch charging in now. He's trying to throw grenades onto the SAM site radar to blow it up, throwing a lot of grenades on it. He gets it with grenades!
Yeah, that's, I was going to say that was looking good because I'm a bit behind you in the stream. But that was looking good. He was getting them right underneath it, which would definitely do the job.
He did a great job, though. He smoked his left side to stop anyone from stopping him from getting close enough to grenade it, though we just saw Flux and ChatGPT come up and mow him down. But now it's just up to Charlie to somehow get in here and destroy the final site. So if we do see Charlie get online in the next 9 minutes, they're going to have to do a massive smoke charge. And that's going to be up to Charles and Seismo here to stop him. Seismo does have a shotgun, though. That's brilliant. Defended by a double barrel.
There's a big open area in front of them, so it does look quite a difficult thing to assault.
All right, we got Flux on 8 kills, by the way. So he's gotten 4 kills with that stoner. He's going above. He's going to catch 2 members of Scandi. Takes out Pearton. Whiplash now looking around. He knows Flux is up there. Runs around. Catches Flux in the open and takes him out. That's what you would expect from the Vietnam community manager. Or one of the two.
What weapon is he using?
The Mark 14. And I think ChatGPT just hit him with the M2. Or the E2. Blanking on it. Yeah, the E2. So unfortunately he turned and got him. But you can see, I mean, Chat has 9 kills. Flux had 9. Like, the kill counts that Pepega racked up this round are just absolutely insane. Hold on. We got Dawidox up here. He's got the stoner. Not sure if he's got any explosives. But he's the closest guy to this one SAM site right here. He is actually in the zone. Blue 4 still has somewhat of a chance here. But you do see a lot of Blue 4 flanking around. We got Harrington all the way unconscious over here. I don't know if he just somehow ragdolled all the way down here or what. Actually, no, he fell out of the helicopter. So Major Khan's flying, Harrington was the gunner. I don't know if they did a failed dismount, but the tail of this chopper is down. Oh, Major Khan going into the ground. Ooh.
Sad day for American English.
And the AA is at an angle to potentially it's trying to shell the hill here. Op 4 moving down to try to counter Blue 4 pushing in. Oh, if Eric were to just look right, he would see these guys in the open. But unfortunately, he does not, and Steve takes him out.
Yeah, fighting in the open. That's no fun.
Oh dear, it looks like that one Blue 4 guy, Dawidox, was spotted in this AO and taken out. I don't know where his body is, but he was shot to shit, unfortunately. I found him. He was flanking around on the far northern side, but Op 4 has too strong of a garrison here.
It's time for Rambo.
Lolo and Quebec trading grenades, both go lawn. But Quebec is taking marksman fire. He gets hit. Blue 4 down to only 4 members remaining. 6 minutes on the round. GL fire going out to Lolo as he moves left to right. Astronaut trying to suppress him. More grenades coming in from afar. But that suppressive fire from that ridge is really messing with him. And then you got Coop and John Stupendious coming around on the rear as well. 2 more Pepega Pirate members. Astronaut takes more fire as he tries to crawl. You got Kermit all the way on the left as well. He's got an M14. He's trying to snipe with iron sights. But I think this is going to be the beginning of the end here. marksman fire is incredibly close. An astronaut gets hit in the head because when he went to a medical animation, he rolled his head out of cover and it got taken off by a marksman. Holy shit. You gotta be careful with those animations. They will get you.
Yeah. That sucks.
Oh, 3 blue, 4 remaining. You gotta commend them. They got to the final objective, but I think they felt rushed by the end, and that's what cost them. Quebec trying to push Lolo here, but ends up pulling back because he is taking suppressive fire. He gets knocked to his feet, and a second shot through this concealment takes him out. And also, we had one of the Op4 guys behind him get taken out. That was John. That might have been accidental. It wasn't John. John's with a different group. I don't know who Tim was with, but I think he got killed in crossfire, even a ricochet round, but that is unfortunate. So he's smoking, and we're down to 2 blue, 4 remaining. You've got more red on red here. Roster gets taken out by Vagrant because they came up the same way Blue 4 did and mis-PID'd. Meanwhile, we saw another Blue 4 member get taken out by suppressive fire by Delta. That is an Op4 body. I don't know where he went down, but now it is just up to Kermit here, who has gotten a kill. Could be picking off the remainder of Delta, but he is on 4 kills here. Or 1 kill, my bad.
In the legs, he can't move fast.
Yeah. That's what...
He's picking off guys on the hill. I mean, is it worth it?
Nah, with 3 minutes remaining, it won't be. But I just realized Coop and John, they've been backpacking the Dishka. They don't have backpacks on right now, but I've seen them with backpacks. So they've been just doing that and then moving around a lot quicker with it instead of moving it around. But Op4 now doing a lot of red on red here as elements of Pepega are trying to run in and sweep under Charlie, but are getting mis-PID'd and taken out.
I suppose Op4 can afford the casualties right now. But there's a guy skylining there. He could pop him.
He's moving around too fast, though. If he shoots too many times, he's going to give himself away and just get swarmed. But with only a little over 2 minutes remaining...
Yeah, he's failed on target fixation because he's not looking at the right target right now. He should be relocating. Does he know he's the only guy left?
He probably doesn't, to be honest.
There you go. That's what's happening. So it's not his tactical mistake. He just doesn't have the intel.
I love how the front of his face is all camo, but the back of his face, he's balding.
Yeah,
so he got that bright white. Or to put the camo on the back there, too. Iowa, thanks for the 500 bits, mate.
Yeah, we really should make a camo face version that has, you know, the hair all camoed as well.
Right.
Because it does suck.
More shots going overhead, but again, they're firing in the tree line here. ChatGPT got knocked unconscious by possibly Lolo, so again, more friendly fire going on. Op4 is getting very trigger happy here.
It would be highly entertaining if they end up wiping out the village and oh, he's shooting. He's giving himself away to the wrong target. It's a bit of a tactical mistake.
I'm waiting to see if Tim Kappa's gonna notice. I mean, he's got an RPG. He shouldn't be mis-PID'd. Yeah, if Kermit looked left, he'd see Tim, though, but instead he's going to crawl behind a tree. 40 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's all over. Well done to Op4. We've got to call it.
And Tim spots him and takes him out. At the 20-second mark.
Oh my god, I mean, that was pretty terrible.
Oh.
I wouldn't even say unlucky, it was just terrible. There was guys moving right in his firing lane and you can see. Very easy to do when you target fixation.
Very messy.
And when you don't have a team to look at, you know, to watch the different angles and stuff. If you're on your own, you tend to get a little bit tunnel vision, and that's what's happened there.